All right guys, so today we're gonna clean up these grungy wheels. They're chrome, which I'm not a big fan of. We're gonna make it look as good as chrome can look. Pretty simple. I'm gonna use a little bit of simple green to get all of the brake dust and grease and road grime that's been building up for years off of it. Once we're done with that, we're gonna use some of this stuff. I've been using this stuff forever. It's called Never Dull. It does a pretty good job. You'll apply it and then it's gonna haze up. And once it hazes up, then you buff it off really good with a microfiber. Usually does a pretty good job. We'll see though, because this thing's pretty ratty looking. Ugh, I hate chrome. All right, let's get to it. All right, so step one, really get some simple green in there. And we'll get the inside too, because that's really where everything is. I mean, it's, like, look at that thing. So probably gonna wind up using an extra tool that I didn't mention before, but we'll get there when we get there. All right, so we're gonna let that sit for like 5 minutes or so. We'll see you then. Movie magic. After letting this sit for a bit, we are gonna need those extra tools I was talking about. So this little guy right here is a really thin, flexible putty knife. A lot of this in here looks like corrosion, which most people don't realize that aluminum does indeed corrode. Let's try and see if we can get all of it, or at least some of it off, because this is really gross. I mean, you can already see how much road grime was in these wheels. Now, you also don't want to dig in super hard with this because aluminum is very soft. And we're not trying to remove metal here. We're just trying to remove that crap. There's a lot of it. So, lucky you, this is gonna be real quick for you. It's not gonna be real quick for me. Continuing on. All right, so we're on to the green Scotch Brite. We got a lot of the heavy stuff off of it. Let's see if we can't do a little better though. Thank God for shop sinks. I'm not gonna lie, this might be the grossest wheel I've ever cleaned.
I think just 3 more.
I know. One almost down, 3 more to go. I'm really hoping this is the worst one out of all of them. Do you think there's a chance that's the case, Declan?
No.
Oh, thanks for the vote of confidence. Man, I should probably just fill up a bucket with water, huh?
Yeah.
You love that I come up with these great ideas like, hey, let's fill up a bucket of water, and then I don't do it. Let me do it. And I have all these buckets. All right, let's fill up this bucket. Man, that wheel is looking a lot better. I can't say that I've had to use a green Scotch Brite to clean a wheel, man, in a long time, but it's worth trying. Oh, I'm so glad I have a bucket of water now. That's as good as that one's gonna get. This looks so much better than it did. I mean, granted, we started with probably the ugliest looking wheel in the history of cars, so we only had up to go. A little bit of elbow grease, and that's where we're at. So pretty much what's left here is just pitting in the aluminum. So there's not a lot I can do about that without like buffing this thing out, and I'm not going that crazy on it. But the barrel of the wheel's a lot cleaner. I brushed out this area a bit. I'm gonna hit it a little more with the wire brush because this is where the head of the rotor mates with the wheel. So this needs to be really clean. That way you don't get any weird like vibrations or anything in the steering wheel. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll flip it over and do the other side of the wheel. See you in a minute. Movie magic again. All right, so we got the inside of the wheel clean enough. Is it perfect? No. If I really wanted to, I could spend some time with it and really like buff out the inside of it, but it's never gonna look perfect again. I mean, whoever owned this thing before me obviously never heard of washing a car. I don't even know the last time these wheels were off of this thing. They were on there. So Next thing we're gonna do is clean up the top side of the wheel. I mean, this is the part you're really gonna see. I'm just happy the barrel of the wheel isn't black anymore. I mean, that thing looked really bad. So we'll give it a quick spray. Now we're gonna wipe it down with the microfiber. Get as much of the chrome. I mean, it's not really chrome. I guess I shouldn't call it that because I know somebody's gonna call me out in the comments. It's really polished aluminum. Still looks awful. I don't like shiny wheels. Maybe once we start rolling in that YouTube money, then we'll get some nice wheels for it. We'll see. All right, next step coming up. Ooh, time to make them shiny. Kinda.
John, what is that?
So, it's like a wadding cloth. I mean, that is actually what they call it, wadding polish. So it's a really fibrous, soft, I think cotton based. And you'll see when it goes on, if you come in real close, you can kind of see the little bit of haze that it'll come, or the little bit of haze that will come out. And that's what we're doing. We're just trying to get this polishing compound really in that wheel. And this stuff is actually a pretty good degreaser on its own. But I like to fully degrease the wheel before I use this, just so it's a little bit more efficient, because Simple Green is cheaper than this stuff is. Put that aside. We'll actually be able to use that on multiple wheels. That is kind of the nice thing. I'm gonna use a clean side of that microfiber. We're really gonna get this stuff out of here. That's the semi-finished product, I guess. Might try to get a little bit more out of it, but I think that's pretty good for now. All right, guys, well, a little bit of elbow grease and some time, well worth it. It'll make your car look good and last longer. See you next time.